My name is Daniela Vargas. I am a proud daughter of immigrants who came to this country. My parents are originally from Oaxaca, Mexico. I come from a very proud migrant farm worker family. Many of my family still works in the fields of Oxnard, California. So I have grown up with that experience of being both considered Latinx and a brown woman, but also learning who I am as an indigenous woman, as my family are indigenous people from Oaxaca. So I've been a nurse for 5 years. I work in women's and reproductive health. And so I've primarily been working with Black, brown, and indigenous people seeking maternal, women, and reproductive rights. For so long, the profession has unfortunately kept this dirty secret of racism. We haven't really been upfront about it. And there will be people in nursing who will say that racism doesn't exist because they haven't experienced it. But yet us, as people of color, we know what that feels like to experience racism and the different types of discriminations as well that we face as individuals. Racism is very insidious, and it permeates the very fabric of our society, and it has also seeped into nursing. And so unfortunately, there's been generations of nurses that have faced violence, retaliation, of being excluded from the profession as full members of the profession. And they've had to build other avenues in order to find representation and voice. And so I think the profound thing about talking about racism right now in this era is that we're no longer shoving it in the closet or sweeping it under the rug. We are now facing it head on and saying that this is no longer ethically acceptable within our code of ethics, but also not morally as well. And so I think as a profession, us taking the stance is going to leave a profound impact on the profession as we move forward, and hopefully will transform the nursing profession into something that is better and more just and equitable for all nurses across the country. Racism is very personal. It starts off on a very individualized level as far as experience to the individual nurse. But it also permeates in the different systems that we navigate. So it impacts how when we show up in academic settings, in practice, whether it's we're practicing in clinics or hospitals, and then our representation when we're working on policy work or looking for representation in spheres where perhaps at the national level we're looking at leadership. And many times you will see, time and time again, that nurses of color, especially Black, brown, and indigenous nurses, continue to be underrepresented in those leadership fields, in academia, in policy work, not at the table. And so that erasure of our experiences leaves a gap in nursing. It doesn't allow nursing to evolve. In nursing, there has been a lack of wanting to address racism because it makes us seem like infallible humans, like that the profession is not perfect. And so until we can work to address racism and acknowledge that it exists and move towards action for both accountability and to make sure that people feel heard, and that the actions move towards building equitable systems for nurses, we won't be able to truly be the country's most trusted profession. Can we really look at ourselves in the mirror and say that that's the reality that we are living if there are members in a profession who don't feel heard, who feel invisible, who aren't seen? And that's an issue that we need to work on as nurses daily. And that works in the sphere of being allies. That works in the sphere of being intentional about who gets to sit at the table. And it also means that sometimes nurses have to step back so that others can move forward and lead.